What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Off the Top Rope, Off the Mic Sports Network. So the big stories really coming out, like Raw was so freaking eventful, and a SummerSlam that was seemingly heading towards everybody was like, oh God, what are they going to do at SummerSlam after, how bad WrestleMania was? And, Saturday night's main event, obviously the whole doom and gloom around surrounding Seth Rollins. And we still really don't have a ton of information. It's a lot of speculation at this point. There's reports saying that he's hurt. There's reports saying he's work. This is quintessential pro wrestling, so we won't know. But what I will say is, really, in the last 3 to 4 days, this card has heated up in a big fucking way because I had no right to expect anything from a jelly roll Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre Logan Paul. And in 2 days, they sold me on that. You've obviously the end of Raw, a big talking point is going to be another tag team match that I think presumably is going to happen with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso probably taking on Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. I would expect that to be made official. The Naomi cash-in changed a lot of things with the way that this card was going to look. Naomi's now defending the Women's World Championship against Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, which is basically, I guess you could say, a rematch of something that happened in the last 30 seconds of that match with Naomi's cash-in. Jade Cargill's facing Tiffany Stratton. We'll see how that goes. That's going to be a real test for both of those women because both are still relatively inexperienced. They're great athletes, but it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I would expect Jade to win the title there. Obviously, Cody Rhodes and John Cena, they got their work cut out for them. They haven't really had an opportunity to build this thing, and obviously, the stank really of that match at WrestleMania is really just hanging in the balance. Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch are going to run it back for the third time at SummerSlam. It sucks for Bayley. I hope she finds some way on this card. Otherwise, it's just going to feed the narratives of the AEW people saying, man, Bayley, come to us. It's like Bayley's been in a prominent spot. You could see how emotional she was being on Evolution, and that's such a prominent match and storyline. But yes, this is just the way the cards go. And then, obviously the other big piece of business that happened tonight, CM Punk wins the gauntlet match, and he's going to challenge Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. So seriously, man, like this card has taken a significant step forward. I think I've probably read off about 6 or 7 matches or something like that. That's enough for like a night. It's going to be interesting to see what else they put on this show. I would expect Raquel and Roxanne to defend the women's tag team titles against Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. And I think that's the moment where they win. We might actually get tag team titles defended on this show, which would be interesting. The Raw side, I really have no idea what they're going to do. The SmackDown side is going to be interesting too, because the Wyatts just win the championship. So it's going to be interesting to see how they build towards SummerSlam with that loaded tag team division on that brand. But yeah, like I said, the consensus really, especially with a 2-night SummerSlam, is like, man, how are they going to pull this off? And then really, obviously, hey, people are kind of dreading the Cody Rhodes, John Cena thing after what happened at WrestleMania, whether it was chemistry, Travis Scott, or whatnot. And yet here we are, hey, CM Punk and Gunther is gonna be fucking great. Roman Reigns getting on this card is a big deal. And obviously, it's going to be great to see Jay in that match too, because there's going to be a lot of, and then Braun Breaker is obviously over Bronson Reed. The tsunami pops them. And again, like I said, Lyra and Becky's going to be great. We'll see the women's triple threat for the Women's World Championship is going to be great. And, out of curiosity, like I said, I'm really curious to see how that Tiffany Jade match does go and how they build to it. Because again, like I said, Jade, some people will point to Jade having some drawbacks. Some people will point to Tiffany having some drawbacks. It's a real test, and this is a real gamble for them in that spot. But nonetheless, this card is really intriguing. It's got a lot of potential great matches on it. And, in a span of a couple days, man, they've done a really good job of, making a lot of these matches that you traditionally think that you wouldn't give a shit about. Like I said, this Jelly Roll match, it may not be good, and you may not like the fact that Jelly Roll is going to be in a match, but you could see just from last SummerSlam to this SummerSlam, he's lost a ton of weight. He's clearly training to try and do this. He's really committing to this. He did a good enough job, and he sold the Claymore like it was death. So it's like, listen, they're trying to get some mainstream buzz. It's World Wrestling Entertainment. I don't necessarily like the way that this was handled so quickly with literally 3 weeks to go before SummerSlam. I wish it would have been built much like some of the other celebrity storylines that they've done, but this is the reality of the TKO calendar and, the way that they structure their events. And they just sort of, absolutely just over pump the market with, just incessant numbers of events. So, um, but yeah, it's the other intriguing element of this whole thing is what is the health of Seth Rollins? Like that's going to be something that's going to be debated until we're blue in the face. Is it a work? Is it not a work? And I probably, once I get some more information, hopefully I'll have more of a way to dissect this. But there's reasons to believe both. It is a little bit funky in reasoning, but something is it's very strange what we've seen transpire really in the last 48 hours since that injury happened. Because there's just been a lot of conflicting information, people telling one story, another person telling another story, and this is going on in the media. This is not speculation amongst us fans. This is media people that are coming out and like, obviously, it's some of it's Wrestling Observer and Post. You don't know what they're saying, but listen, it's one of those rare situations where I just don't know who the fuck to believe. Um, and whatever the situation is, that has a massive ramification on this SummerSlam because there's two world championship matches that definitely have Seth Rollins' interest because of people that he knows in both of those matches. He's obviously got Cena and Cody, his relationship with Cody, obviously, the whole thing with Cena at Night of Champions and obviously the respect he has for John. And then, of course, CM Punk, a guy he just absolutely fucking detests. Like, the world title matches are freaking like I said, I'm worried a little bit about Cody and Cena more so because John Cena's this run has not been great and it's really kind of exposed that he's really not built for it anymore. But hey, this is what happens when you do a retirement tour and you're in your late 40s and you're trying to be the WWE champion and you're not doing this all the time. So that's going to be something to monitor. I'm really curious to see how Punk and Gunther turns out. I've heard only great things of some of the stuff they did at house shows. Um, that's a dream match. Seriously, like that's an awesome pull for them to come out with that and have those potentially as both of your main events. And hey, there's an argument for the women to absolutely main event night one. Io, Naomi, and Rhea absolutely have an argument to main event night one. We'll see how this whole thing gets sorted out. One thing's for sure, Cody and Cena is going to main event night two and is going to end this whole event. But I can't wait for this SummerSlam. They in just a span of a couple days, they've found a way to make this genuinely interesting. And this thing heated up in a hurry. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.